On paper, this wasn't the most exciting week in the NFL. The only game between teams with winning records was a matchup between the Bills and Saints, and for a while, that was the only blowout of the day. But just as we hoped, things got a little weird. The Steelers looked lifeless for most of their game against the Colts, but they were able to come back and win on a last-second field goal. The Lions were on the verge of getting upset by the Browns until the fourth quarter rolled around. Detroit pulled away for the win. But the wackiest game was the Jaguars' overtime win against the Chargers. The ending was filled with turnovers and dumb penalties. And the 49ers got their first win of the season. The Giants, who fell to 18, somehow look worse every week. The same could be said for the Broncos, who rolled over against the Patriots on Sunday night. Here's all the big news and highlights from Sunday. News: Jerry Jones and Arthur Blank took their feud to the next level and avoided each other before the Cowboys-Falcons game. The Jerry Jones vs. Arthur Blank dispute was impossible to ignore during the Falcons-Cowboys game. Martellus Bennett went from getting cut by the Packers to active for the Patriots in just 4 days. Highlights: Teddy Bridgewater wiped tears of joy before his first game back in Vikings gear since 2015. Washington WR Maurice Harris gave us a Catch of the Year candidate. Ryan Fitzpatrick loves his Rubik's Cube. Brett Hundley burned a timeout for no reason against the Bears. The Jaguars torched the Chargers on 56-yard TD with this masterfully executed fake punt. Stefon Diggs was penalized for doing his best Antonio Brown impression, celebrating a TD by leaping onto the goalpost for a hug. Vontaze Burfict got ejected, and then walked off field making the Johnny Manziel money sign. The Bears head for stand goal, but a terrible John Fox challenge turned it into a Packers touchback. The Vikings celebrated Adam Thielen's TD with a game of leapfrog. The Browns ran a QB sneak 15 seconds before halftime with no timeouts. It was as dumb as it sounds. Steelers punter Jordan Berry turned on the Jets to stop the Colts' 2-point play after a blocked XP. Kirk Cousins scored a touchdown, the refs did nothing, and things got weird. The Chargers couldn't even run out the clock without fumbling. Watch: a naked Bills fan storms the field and gets tackled. Adam Thielen is rewarding the Vikings' patience with another monster performance. Saints punter Thomas Morstead jokingly added himself to the inactives list after punting 0 times against the Bills. Juju Smith-Schuster and Le'Veon Bell tried to reenact the A.J. Green-Jalen Ramsey fight during a TD celebration. The Cowboys don't miss anyone as much as they miss LT Tyron Smith. Kyle Shanahan got a 3-cup Gatorade bath after the 49ers' first win. Dion Lewis got some help from a Broncos player on a 103-yard kick return TD. Brock Osweiler nailed some poor guy on the Broncos sideline in the head with a football. The Patriots scored a touchdown when the Broncos only had 10 men on the field to stop it. Dion Lewis took his touchdown celebration right into our living rooms. The Broncos set up Patriots TDs with both too many and too few players on the field. Injuries: the Packers can't catch a break. Rookie RB Aaron Jones is out with a knee injury, and Ty Montgomery, who took his place, did return with a rib injury. Browns pound Jamie Collins intercepted Matthew Stafford, but then immediately left the game with a knee injury. He did not return. Washington RB Rob Kelly did not return against the Vikings with an ankle injury. DeShone Kizer left after taking a big shot to the ribs against the Lions. Cody Kessler took over at QB, but Kizer eventually returned. Steelers corner Joe Hayden fractured his fibula against the Colts. Devonta Freeman didn't return against the Cowboys after leaving with a head injury. Jacoby Brissett enters concussion protocol after the game against the Steelers. Texans receiver Will Fuller left the game against the Rams with a ribs injury and did not return. Week 10 scores and schedules: all times Eastern. New Orleans Saints 47, Buffalo Bills 10, Green Bay Packers 23, Chicago Bears 16, Detroit Lions 38, Cleveland Browns 24, Pittsburgh Steelers 20, Indianapolis Colts 17, Jacksonville Jaguars 20, Los Angeles Chargers 17, OT Tampa Bay Buccaneers 15, New York Jets 10, Tennessee Titans 24, Cincinnati Bengals 20, Minnesota Vikings 38, Washington 30, Los Angeles Rams 33, Houston Texans 7, Atlanta Falcons 27, Dallas Cowboys 7, San Francisco 49ers 31, New York Giants 21, New England Patriots 41, Denver Broncos 16. The top stories from Sunday's action before the games were well on our way into the second half of the NFL season. For the most part, we're still trying to sort out the contenders and pretenders, but every game picks up a sense of urgency as the playoff races heat up in earnest. To be honest, the early afternoon schedule doesn't have a lot of compelling matchups, with Saints vs. Bills being the only game where both teams have a winning record. The Saints are cooking with 6 straight wins, thanks to an improved defense and the emergence of rookie running back Alvin Kamara. The Bills made a big splash at the trade deadline by acquiring Kelvin Benjamin, who should make his Buffalo debut this week. We'll see if he can boost his struggling pass offense. The other early game to watch pits the Vikings against Washington, which picked up a big win against the Seahawks last week but still has a ton of injury concerns. The Vikings officially shut down Sam Bradford for the season and Teddy Bridgewater is activated, but they're still not in a rush to get him back on the field with Case Keenum exceeding expectations. In the meantime, Minnesota will look to consolidate its grip on the NFC North. The late afternoon is defined by missed opportunities. Texans vs. Rams looked like a great matchup 2 weeks ago, but Deshaun Watson tore his ACL in practice and Tom Savage was predictably terrible in last week's loss to the Colts. The Rams are flying high at 62 under Sean McVay and it would be surprising if they didn't roll a hobbled Texans team here. Another late afternoon game pits the Falcons against the Cowboys, who finally, officially don't have Ezekiel Elliott after his 6-game suspension started this week. The offense now belongs to Dak Prescott, who looks like he should be up to the challenge. Finally, the Broncos continue their quarterback crisis against the Patriots on SNF. Brock Osweiler is getting another start despite last week's poor performance, while Trevor Seaman is glued to the bench and Paxton Lynch is still recovering from a shoulder injury. Even with a great defense, it's hard to see Denver keeping pace with Tom Brady on prime time.